Imagine being on a battlefield in the past where every single shot mattered. Soldiers would fire once, then spend precious seconds reloading their weapon before they could shoot again. In the chaos of combat, those few seconds could mean the difference between survival and defeat. Now imagine a weapon that allows the shooter to fire several shots before reloading. That simple idea changed warfare forever and led to one of the most important developments in firearm technology. Before repeating firearms existed, most guns were single-shot weapons. Muskets and early rifles required the shooter to manually load gunpowder, place a projectile into the barrel, and prepare the weapon for the next shot. This process was slow and required focus, especially during stressful combat situations. Even a well-trained soldier could take many seconds to reload. On a battlefield where enemies were advancing quickly, that delay made soldiers extremely vulnerable. The need for faster-firing weapons pushed inventors and engineers to search for new solutions. Their goal was simple but revolutionary: create a firearm that could hold multiple rounds of ammunition and allow the shooter to fire several shots before needing to reload. This concept eventually gave birth to repeating firearms. Repeating firearms are designed with a mechanism that stores multiple cartridges inside a magazine or cylinder. Instead of loading ammunition after every single shot, the shooter can fire multiple rounds in succession. After each shot, the firearm automatically or manually prepares the next cartridge to be fired. This innovation dramatically increased a soldier's ability to respond quickly during combat situations. One of the earliest examples of this technology was the revolver. Revolvers used a rotating cylinder that held several rounds of ammunition. Each time the trigger was pulled, the cylinder rotated to bring a new cartridge into firing position. This allowed shooters to fire multiple shots without stopping to reload after every round. During the 19th century, revolvers became widely used by soldiers, law enforcement officers, and civilians because they provided a major advantage over single-shot firearms. Another major development was the lever-action rifle. These rifles featured a lever mechanism located under the weapon. By pulling the lever down and then back up, the shooter could eject the spent cartridge and load a new one from the magazine into the chamber. This system allowed for relatively rapid firing while still giving the shooter control over the weapon. Lever-action rifles became especially popular in the United States during the late 1800s and played an important role in both military and civilian use. As firearm technology continued to evolve, engineers introduced bolt-action rifles. These rifles required the shooter to manually operate a bolt handle after each shot. By pulling the bolt back and pushing it forward again, the shooter could eject the spent casing and chamber a fresh round from the internal magazine. Although this process was manual, it was still significantly faster than reloading a single-shot weapon. Bolt-action rifles became widely used by military forces around the world and remained a standard infantry weapon for many decades. Eventually, semi-automatic firearms took the concept even further. Semi-automatic weapons use the energy generated by firing a round to automatically cycle the action and load the next cartridge into the chamber. The shooter only needs to pull the trigger for each shot, and the firearm handles the rest of the process. This allows for much faster firing compared to manually operated repeating firearms. The ability to fire multiple rounds before reloading provides several important advantages. First, it increases the shooter's effectiveness in situations where quick follow-up shots are needed. Whether in military combat, law enforcement operations, or certain sporting activities, being able to fire multiple rounds rapidly can be extremely valuable. Second, repeating firearms reduce the amount of time spent reloading. In high-pressure situations, reloading can be difficult and dangerous. By storing multiple rounds in a magazine or cylinder, the shooter can focus more on aiming and controlling the weapon rather than constantly reloading. Third, these firearms improve overall efficiency. Instead of carrying large numbers of single-shot weapons or stopping frequently to reload, shooters can rely on a single firearm capable of firing several rounds consecutively. This efficiency has made repeating firearms a standard choice for many applications. Over time, magazines themselves also evolved. Early repeating firearms used fixed internal magazines that were built into the weapon. The shooter would load cartridges individually into the magazine before firing. Later designs introduced detachable box magazines. These magazines could be quickly removed and replaced with a fully loaded one, allowing the shooter to reload much faster than before. Modern firearms used by military forces often rely on detachable magazines that hold dozens of rounds. This technology allows soldiers to maintain a high rate of fire while still being able to reload quickly when necessary. It represents the result of more than a century of technological improvement and engineering innovation. Despite these advancements, proper training and discipline remain essential. Firearms that allow multiple shots before reloading must be handled responsibly and safely. Military personnel and trained professionals undergo extensive instruction to ensure they understand how to operate these weapons effectively and safely. In addition to military use, repeating firearms have also become popular in sporting and recreational shooting. Competitive shooters often rely on firearms with magazines because they allow rapid and accurate follow-up shots. Hunters may also use repeating rifles because they provide the ability to fire a second shot quickly if needed. The basic principle behind all of these firearms remains the same. By storing multiple cartridges inside the weapon and automatically or manually preparing the next round after each shot, repeating firearms allow the shooter to fire several shots before needing to reload. What may sound like a simple concept actually represents one of the most important breakthroughs in firearm history. When we look at modern military weapons today, it is clear how far this technology has come. Advanced materials, precision engineering, and improved ammunition have made repeating firearms more reliable and efficient than ever before. Soldiers can depend on their weapons to function in extreme environments, from deserts to freezing mountains. Yet the core idea remains unchanged from the original invention: increase the shooter's capability by allowing multiple shots in rapid succession. This innovation transformed the way firearms were used and permanently changed the dynamics of warfare. From early revolvers and lever-action rifles to modern semi-automatic and automatic weapons, the ability to fire several shots before reloading has shaped the evolution of firearms for over a century. It has improved efficiency, increased firepower, and provided shooters with the ability to respond quickly when every second counts. Today, repeating firearms continue to play a critical role in military forces around the world. They represent a combination of engineering, innovation, and practical design that has stood the test of time. What began as a simple idea has grown into one of the most influential advancements in the history of weapons technology. Understanding how these firearms work also helps us appreciate the importance of responsible use and proper training. Technology may provide powerful tools, but it is the knowledge and discipline of the user that ensures they are used safely and effectively. As technology continues to evolve, firearms will likely become even more advanced in the future. New materials, improved mechanisms, and smarter designs will continue to enhance performance and reliability. However, the principle that started it all, the ability to fire several shots before reloading, will always remain at the heart of repeating firearm technology. This single innovation transformed firearms from slow, single-shot tools into powerful multi-round systems capable of sustained use. It changed military strategy, influenced engineering design, and reshaped the way weapons are used across the world. And it all comes down to one simple but revolutionary concept: giving the shooter the ability to fire several shots before needing to reload.